Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, the Motor City. We are just 1 week away from the Big 3 playoffs. I'm your friend Tattoo, and this is all about the Big 3. All right, it's going down this weekend, Washington, D.C. It's time for the 2023 Big 3 playoffs on the line right now. Thank you so much for joining Bivouac's Ryan Hollins. How you doing, brother Hollins?
Doing good, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready for the playoffs. Are you?
Man, I am, man. I want to say, David, I feel like this has by far been the most competitive year in the Big 3. And, you know, normally you have one team that just separates themselves, but seeing a group of teams where any one of them can win it, man, I'm excited, Dave.
Unfortunately, Ryan Hollins, Bivouac, y'all did not make it to the playoffs, but one thing that you do got, Ryan, aside from your strong game, is your strong basketball IQ. So I appreciate you taking the time and joining us here on All About the Big 3. Let's break down the playoffs. You got the current reigning defending champions Trilogy, and they're going to be taking on enemies. The first time enemies have made the playoffs. And then you got Ghost Ballers. They're going to be taking on former Big 3 champions as well, Lisa Leslie's triplets. Ryan, break down the playoffs for us.
Man, first off, I think it's all about Jordan Crawford right now with the enemies. I think for him, you know, I feel like as a player, that first year playing Big 3, there's a shot. You know, you realize you don't have time to get ready. You got to come out firing at the gates, and then you got to be ultra aggressive. And it's starting to see enemies play a lot of one-on-one. So between Isaiah and those guys and Nick Young, Nick is really taking pride in himself as player coach right now. They're rolling. This is the best that I've ever seen pretty much from the enemies from their standpoint. I don't know about the playoff experience, though. I think that might go and catch up with them at this point in time. But I think they are scary because Jordan Crawford, you know it, David, you've seen it. He's a shot going in or two away from really getting hot, and then he's very hard to guard. I mean, if he gets past Trilogy in these playoffs, he may be MVP of the league this season. Oh, easily with the season that he's having. I think arguably the biggest surprise, like friendly surprise this entire season, and maybe possibly in Big 3 history, is Hezi God. This is a guy who, I'll be honest, from an NBA standpoint, we were like, are the moves that he's doing against guys in these pro-ams and street runs, are they going to work on pro competition? Guys his size, guys a little more athletic, guys big. His same moves are working, man, and he's winning. And I think what stands out to me about Hezi and Trilogy, I counted them out, man. When Briscoe left and he went to take his job, hats off to Briscoe, I thought they were done with. But for Hezi to step in and somewhat fill those shoes, and Earl Clark is another guy. You got to talk about MVP. I'm going to throw this out there right now. I want you to hear me when I say Earl Clark should be on an NBA roster. He's good enough right now. Not that he hasn't been, but the way that he's playing, the way he's comfortable, you know, you talk about guys, the game slowing down for them. The things that Earl Clark is doing with the basketball right now, you don't gotta like me if I say this or not. He should have an opportunity to play in the NBA. That's something that he chooses. I agree. The way I think playing. A lot of players and I think a lot of fans that are actually tuned in and get to see Earl Clark, and he's so consistent every game. And he's so smooth. He's so smooth as well. A great breakdown with Trilogy and enemies. Let's talk about Ghost Ballers and triplets. Triplets have been there. They've won it once. And Ghost Ballers they've gotten so close, but they've never been able to take the crown. Ryan Hollins, thank you so much for joining us. Break it down. Ghost Ballers are scary this year. This is another team that's the best that I've ever seen them. They have depth. And one thing in the Big 3, you have to be able to win with size. And they come out with Chris Johnson playing the wing, and then you got Darnell coming off the bench. Like they have a lot of size that they never had. And then we know it, like it's all about Mike Taylor. Like, so if Mike Taylor knocks down his jumpers, knock down his shot, it's going to be really hard to beat Ghost Ballers. And I know you're hearing me say this because it's Joe Johnson is that dude on the other side. Okay,
Right.
ISO Joe is on the other side.
Jeremy Pargle's having a breakout season as well.
Listen, I played with triplets last year. I know this is almost like Michael Jordan taking that break, going out and playing some baseball, coming back when we're looking at Joe Johnson. We'll be honest when we talk about Joe. I want to make sure everything is clear. Where the championship goes is how Joe feels like playing. He's that guy, you know, big
Wow.
respect to Earl Clark, big respect to Hezzy.
That's
right?
nailing the coffin. That's so well said, Ryan. That's why your basketball IQ is brilliant, man. And I appreciate that. You know, you're very honest, and it comes down to, honestly, I believe in when it comes to Ghost Ballers versus triplets, it comes down to Joe Johnson.
Yeah, because Ghost Ballers have the size. I think they can switch screens, and that's one thing when you play against Joe Johnson that's so integral that becomes tough is you don't have bodies to put on him. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll run a action with Coach Leslie, and you know she'll say, "When do I hard show and get back to my man, or do I switch?" And now your big guy, your guard, is guarding Joe Johnson. That's tough. Okay, so I think they have the bodies. Those Ballers on paper, with all due respect, they're the better team. They're deeper, but if Pargo hits a jump shot, Joe Johnson says, "I'm not going to be guarded." This is their championship, this triplets championship. And then they messed around and got Jamario Moon back. Shout out my twin right there. They got Jamario Moon back. So he's like Moon is the cheat code for the big three because he can knock down a three, he can drive, and then he can switch. And he can defend. You get guys like that, it's scary. He's playing off ball. He's already won a championship with the triplets. So like they kind of have their championship team back. Pargo's just got to knock down his shots. You know, if Jeremy knocks down his shots, they breeze through the championship. If Joe Johnson has to say it's Joe time, ISO Joe time, he can win it. And I think that what's tough is, so let's say this game comes down to those last in the 40s, right? When the game gets in the 40s, Tattoo, you've seen it, right? Dave, you've seen it. That's Joe's time. That's Joe's time. So it's like,
Yes,
it's Joe Johnson
versus
versus
so clutch.
your
when
guys.
It's like 42 points from there on. Good luck, man. Ryan Hollins, Bivouac, Ryan Hollins, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out on your busy schedule. I appreciate it, man. An incredible breakdown of the 2023 Big 3 playoffs. It goes down this weekend. Get your tickets right now, big3.com/tickets. Ryan, I know you got a dope show going on too, man. Why don't you talk about it really quick before we get on out of here?
Yeah, real quick, man. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. NBA Rookie Life. It's through the NBA and iHeartRadio. We're on all the streaming platforms. Just shoot me a like. It takes 5 seconds. Shoot a subscribe, and I got some really cool content. Some of our guys from the Big 3 went and repped, and it's just straight hoop talk, man. It's hoop talk like we doing right here. So I appreciate your support, and shout out to Cube. I just saw Ninja Turtles, by the way, man. Cube killed that.
Nice.
So it was definitely fun, but I appreciate your support.
I appreciate you, man, and taking the time out with us. The one and only Ryan Hollins. We'll see you at the playoffs, Ryan.
All right, brother.
It's the Big 3 playoffs, and it all comes down to this. 4 teams fighting for 2 spots and a chance to claim the Big 3 crown across the pond at the O2 Arena in London. Is Trilogy on the track for a three-peat? Can ISO Joe and Triplets regain the throne? Or will it be the Ball Hogs, Killer Threes, Enemies, Power, or Ghost Ballers? Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here on CBS.
All right, on the line right now, he's on his way to the playoffs this weekend, possibly to the Big 3 championship. My good friend Darnell Jackson, Ghost Ballers in the building. What's up, Darnell?
What's up, Tattoo? Appreciate you having me on, brother.
No, thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy week. Talk about how special it is for Ghost Ballers and Darnell Jackson to be in the playoffs this weekend.
Oh, it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and shock everybody. I think we can go out here this weekend and take care of business. The biggest thing for us is trying to control ISO Joe and JP.
And speaking of controlling ISO Joe, a word of advice. He is a former MVP. He is a former Big 3 champion. And when it comes down to those clutch plays towards the end of the game, that's when Joe Johnson sets it off. So how does Darnell Jackson and the Ghost Ballers contain the former MVP?
Containing ISO, that's kind of hard, man. I think every shot that goes up from him, we just got to pray it's short or it's long. We know he's going to make shots. We know he's going to play hard. You know, like you said, he's a veteran. NBA, all like he does it all. Rebound, defense score in the post, shoot the three. So we just got to make sure we just do our best to try to contain them.
One of my favorite matchups in this game is going to be Larry Sanders, a big vote for Defensive Player of the Year versus Darnell Jackson, who's on the line right now, also candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. How does this match up right here for you, Darnell?
Man, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great matchup. You know, I've been knowing Larry since he got to Milwaukee. I was in Milwaukee with Larry with the Bucks, and he has the length and he has the IQ of understanding the game. And for me, I think he's the X factor for that team because he plays a big role on both ends of the floor. Well, half court, as I should say.
Final question, man, for all the fans that are watching right now, what would it mean for Darnell Jackson getting past the playoffs, going all the way and winning? Because Ghost Ballers have been there. They've almost gotten close, but they've never gotten that trophy. What would it mean to take your team and win that victory with the Big 3 championship this season?
Man, it would mean everything to me, especially not to me, but to the team. You know, Ice, Coach G, CJ, Mike T, Sims, Chuck, and even for my babies, man, they could continue watching Dad play.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Yo, I want to thank you so much, Darnell Jackson. You got a big game ahead of you. This weekend is going down. Ghost Ballers in the playoffs, taking on the former Big 3 champion and Lisa Leslie's triplets. Darnell, thank you so much for the call, brother.
Thank you, that too. Have a good one.
It's gonna get real spooky out here right now. Can you see me? Now you do. Smoke.
We keep doing that, man. We set our path, man, to, look at that salt water. And you know what? Over that salt water, London.
Right now, I am hanging out with co-captain of Enemies. He came in as a first-round pick, and look at him right here on his way to the Big 3 playoffs this weekend in Washington, D.C. Isaiah Austin representing Enemies. What's up, dog?
What it do, my dog?
Ready for the playoffs. How excited is Isaiah Austin right now? I mean, you came in as a first-round pick, going into the playoffs, taking on the current, reigning, defending Big 3 champions Trilogy. How's it feel, Isaiah Austin? Talk about just your feelings coming into the playoffs this weekend.
Man, we feeling confident. As a team, I feel like we really rolling. We know we the most hated. We know that, we the league's real enemies. So we're prepared for that, and we about to get out there and we're gonna kick somebody's ass.
I love the confidence, man, and that's just what it seems that Enemies have been playing with, this high level range of confidence. Jordan Crawford has been on fire. Elijah Stewart and yourself. You guys have a great team, and with a great coach, Nick Young. He's been doing a great job. So, Isaiah, I want to tell you this, man. This is the reigning, defending champions. A lot of teams have been in this position, and they haven't been able to capitalize and beat Trilogy. Without giving too much of your guys' strategy, what do you guys feel is the biggest threat in Trilogy, and why Enemies is going to be that team to finally take them out?
Really, right now, we just know that they got experience. We know that they've been here before, so they're probably really cool, calm, and collected, So we finna go out there and we just gonna play our ball game. And, they're going to have to prove it to us again.
Final question with Isaiah Austin. I know, you got to get your rest. You got to get ready for this weekend. Thank you so much for checking in with us here on All About the Big 3. I really appreciate the time getting into the playoffs this weekend. Washington, D.C., get your tickets. It's going down, big3.com/tickets. What would it mean for Isaiah Austin to go all the way?
Man, it would mean a lot, just from getting drafted #1 my first season, and then having, 2 back-to-back losing seasons. That shit sucks. So it feels good to be here. It would mean a lot. And, I think we really represent the Enemies the right way with this year, the way we play, how we compete. We don't back down from nobody. So it'll really just stamp us.
I'll tell you this, brother, you're here for a reason. Enemies is doing their thing. Y'all guys have been playing some dominant force Big 3 fireball. I look forward to seeing you this weekend in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for checking in, Isaiah Austin. Enemies, it's going down.
My dog.
It's the Big 3 playoffs, and it all comes down to this. 4 teams fighting for 2 spots and a chance to claim the Big 3 crown across the pond at the O2 Arena in London. Is Trilogy on the track for a three-peat? Can ISO Joe and Triplets regain the throne? Or will it be the Ball Hogs, Killer Threes, Enemies, Power, or Ghost Ballers? Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here on CBS.